How's it hanging, YouTube? Peter here, your ginger Geordie geek. Welcome back to the channel for another episode of This Is My. This is the show where I get to meet a member of the comic book or toy collecting community. We'll have a bit of a chat and we'll learn a little bit more about each other. Now. I've watched this chap for a long time on the U of the Tube and always been blown away by his enthusiasm and how much fun he seems. But I've never actually worked with him. I've never worked, you know what I mean? Like YouTube's work and bullshit. I've never actually done a show with him. And I can tell you now, from the first 5 minutes I've spent with him, I love him. I think he's going to be a great laugh on the show tonight, and I think we're going to have a bit of fun. So, without further ado, I'm very pleased to introduce Cliff to the show. Cliff, how are you, sir?
Peter, I'm great. I'm so happy to be here. Normally, I'm just yelling at a computer monitor, being like, "No, Peter, no!" Or you'd be like, "Yes, Peter, you're right." Or I was like,
"I'm always right.
You, I'm betrayed."
I'm always right. I'm always right. Don't you know?
You're not always right, sir. We have disagreed. All right.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
The new Doctor Who singing and dancing is okay with me.
Well, right. Oh, let's start off with Doctor Who, because I know you're a big Doctor Who fan. And honestly, folks, we'll get to the show in a bit. But I've not really talked a great deal about Doctor Who. By the end of it, I think the last episode dropped the ball a bit, mind. But by the end of it, I loved it. I have to say, I really did enjoy the dynamic between them.
I feel like the complete picture was very good.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I don't know about everyone else, but I'm really enjoying Maestro. So this is great for me.
Yeah, I loved Maestro. I love Neil Patrick Harris. I thought he was amazing. I hope we get more of him. I do think I do get where they went on the last episode with the kind of it not being a big reveal. Spoilers, ladies and gents. But I don't know. I kind of felt a little bit let down by that. I would have liked something exciting.
Listen, he's only doing 2 series or seasons of Doctor Who. Right, because he's got theater commitments, so he's like, I'm doing this for 2 years, and then off I go. Allegedly, right? That's what I remember him saying. So I figure if Russell T Davies, if he has a character arc that's legit here, this is part 1 character arc, minor reveal, and part 2 character arc, big reveal, and then whoever the next Doctor is.
Yeah.
You know, if that's the case, if that's how things are going. But I feel like that. If it were me, like if I were showrunner, and like not the writer, but the showrunner, I'd be like, "This is what we're doing. He's only giving us 2 years. Let's make them count. We got to make up for Jodie Whittaker and what we did to her."
Yeah. I mean,
well,
that was a disgrace because Jodie Whittaker, I think, was good, but she was screwed by the scripts. She got crap stories.
It was like she was acting like she was acting like she was on another show almost. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what is happening here? Not to mention, her first season as the Doctor, they introduced characters who seem queer in the first 45 seconds, and then they get killed off. That was really ticking me off. I was like, who is in that writing room? Who is in that writing room, BBC? Yeah. I'm coming for you. I was not happy.
Okay, let's move on. See who we've got in the chat. We've got my pal James, MJ Comics. Sorry you can't join me tonight, guys. He's got a show on at the same time, but please do check that out after you've watched this show, obviously. But nice of you to jump on, mate. We've got Wellbo. Nice to see you, Wellbo. Hope you're well, bud. We've got Dr. Von Hoot. Always good to see you, my friend. And please do check out the Good Doctor's show going live. His first Saturday live show later on tonight. So make sure you check that out. We've got some bloke called Cliff. Never heard of him, don't know who he is. We've got Chris Bell. Always nice to see you, Chris. I hope you're doing well. We've got Wayne. Nice to see you, Wayne. And we've got Phil. My pal Phil. Always good to see you. We've got Dead Man. Good to see you, Terry. I hope you're well. I will say it again. I say it every show I'm on at the moment. Terry is just starting off on his YouTube journey. I hope he won't mind us saying, I'm sure he won't, because I'm of the similar age myself, but he's an older gent who's just discovered YouTube in terms of sharing his comics. So he's sharing a lifelong passion, basically. So please do go check out Deadman on YouTube. He's just starting out. He's got about 6 or 7 vids on there now, and they're really cool. So please go and have a look at him. Dead Man is saying Doctor Who lost interest after John Pertwee. Craigie, that's going back. Yeah. Excuse me. The cat is here cleaning the cat's lair. Big Lion Cat, nice to see you, Big Lion Cat. I hope you're well. And we've got Werewolf by Lunchtime. Always good to see you. Just getting over the England game. I didn't see the final result. It was 0-0 when I looked. Not that I'm a football man, mind. You football, soccer. It's that I'm talking soccer.
I am well versed in football. Okay.
Football,
Remember, I am half Canadian and half Puerto Rican. All right. So I understand. I learned the difference between football and football when I was 8 years old, and that was it. All right. So I'm all with the footy. Okay, I get it. All right. I've seen enough of your television to understand 75% of your culture. Sometimes I wonder if we should have just stayed with you. I
mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure I'd want you back now, Cliff. To be honest, no.
But anyhow, so but no, I don't do sports. I don't do sports. I get the gist of things. Also American football, I will transform into a specialist, but only if the Giants make it to the Super Bowl, because that was my father's favorite team, and they made it to the Super Bowl right after he died, and then 4 years later. And those 2 seasons were the only times in my life where all of a sudden I knew the game of football inside and out, and I could tell you everything. But only on those 2 occasions. Outside of that phenomenon, I couldn't tell you who's who, what's what. All I know is that I'm not a big fan of Tom Brady. Not crazy about him. And obviously, my heart goes out to Eli Manning forever. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and I got a signed letter from the wife of somebody at the New York Giants after the 2008 win. So that was fun.
Any reason, or did they just write to you for a laugh?
I wrote to talk about my father's death, how much their win meant to me, and someone's wife from the board for the NFL, for the Giants, or who owns the team, whatever. But she was like, your letter was brought to my attention. It moved me.
That's nice.
And I was like, wow, this actually came from someone. I thought it was funny that it was someone's wife at the NFL, but still, I was like, whatever. I thought it was beautiful.
Nice. That's nice. That's a nice story. Chris, 75%. Get on Hollyoaks for the other 25%. Don't know what that's in.
We have a whole over here. Very different.
Okay, should we start the show? Do you think, Cliff? Do you think we should actually?
Of course.
Let's.
I've already started, but
yeah. Big Cat is saying, "Hi, Cliff. I got to meet Cliff. We are 2 big PR boys."
Yes, we're both big Puerto Ricans. That's very. We're tall, and that's not usual. Yeah, and also Big Lion Cat is tall even by my standards. I was like, dude, we're like the same height. This never happened to me.
What height are you?
I'm 6'3". I don't know what that is in centimeters, so just take that.
No, we do. Well, I'm old. We still do feet in inches. So that's tall.
Yeah,
that's tall.
I do. When it comes to appendages, I'm very familiar with the centimeter system. And it's so over here in the States, I always say 7 or better, but when I'm talking abroad, I always go 19 centimeters or better. Thank you.
Okay, so Cliff, let's talk some comic books, and we're going to start off with a nice, easy question: your backstory. And what I'm interested in is what got you into comic book collecting, and then what got you into this YouTube malarkey.
Oh, this is so funny. What got me into comic book collecting? Superman the movie.
Oh, the original?
Yes. I was about 2 years old. It was on television. It was a 2-night event on my local CBS channel. And it was just Superman came out of the Daily Planet in the tube. The guy's like, that's a bad outfit. And he flies up to save Lois. To be continued, right? So then I watched it. I watched part 2 the next night, and I was in tears. I covered my eyes when Lois is dying. It used to scare me so much, and I used to cover my eyes for that. And then I eventually got over it. But shortly after that, we were in a pharmacy, and I saw Superman comics. So my mother got it for me, and it was part 2 of a 3-part story, right? So forget about it. I drove my mother crazy. She grabbed me 2 other random Superman comics that had nothing to do with nothing, and I wanted the rest of the story. So then we found part 1. So now I have part 2, part 1, and then we found part 3, and I made her read me, and it was a 3-part Vartok story, right? I made her read it to me constantly because I couldn't read yet. That woman couldn't wait to get me reading. She bought me those comic books with the records in them. She got me so many. She's like, here, honey, here, go, go, go. She could not wait for me to read. She was tired, you know? And then that was fun because my vocabulary improved exponentially, and it annoyed the hell out of my family. Also, I was still shy and didn't talk outside of the house, but I talked to them. So again, I never shut up, and that was a pleasure. That was a pleasure for my family. I'm really sad because I think I'm wonderful, but like inside my family, I'm like the Sheldon. It's pretty rough.
That you know what? That's really interesting. A couple of things. First of all, I'm a big Superman fan, so I have to get your views. Are you watching, or have you been watching the Superman and Lois TV series?
Of course, I'm watching Superman and Lois. That man is too fine not for me to watch him.
Yeah.
He's lucky I knew him as a werewolf first, because I have like a psychological issue with Superman where like I can't like be sexually attracted to him because he's like a father figure to me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So like Christopher Reeve, never saw him sexually. George Reeves, never.
Dean Kane's a good looking man.
Right, but I only knew him as Superman. I just was like, yeah, he's cute, whatever, but like it never happen for me. But then I was watching The Tudors with Henry Cavill, so I knew Henry Cavill before Man of Steel. So I was like, that's a damn good looking Superman. And now this kid, Corn Sweat, I know him from Election or whatever the hell that show was called on Netflix. I'm not even sure the show was that good. It's 2 seasons, but anyhow, he's in season 1, and I love him. And there's even a moment in season 1 where the lead character is yelling at him, like, "How can you stand there and talk to me like that when you're looking like Superman?" And I was like, he does look like Superman. So now I'm very excited with him. Plus again, young and attractive, and it's working for me. That suit they need to do something with that suit. The movie is worrying me to bits.
So I know we had a slight conversation over on Instagram because the Superman suit, I thought, fair enough, I can live with. I think they'll play with it before it goes into the movie. But then I have to say, Cliff, the Guy Gardner costume and the Hawkgirl costume,
atrocious.
Yeah, I'm
atrocious. It's an atrocity. Go look that up. Atrocity.
An atrocity. Fair. You heard it here, folks. James Gunn's movie is going to be an atrocity.
No, Guy Gardner's costume and wig are an atrocity.
The other thing,
I'm sorry. Do we actually like? I don't care about Nathan Fillion. I don't like him so much that he had to be Guy Gardner. Get him out. Also, he's getting that gut. That gut is not here for me. I don't know. I want a guy who will pull off Guy Gardner and who will look cute when he freaking. What do you call it? When he moons the Justice League?
Yeah.
I want someone who can pull that off. This man's gonna moon the Justice League for me, and all these Hollywood workouts. You couldn't get him to a Hollywood workout. The budget's not good enough to get him a personal trainer and knock some of that bubble fat off. We're just gonna CGI it later. We'll handle it in post.
He might once he drops the pants, he might have a very tight arse. He might be very toned down below when he's mooning.
When he's right, exactly, in post-production, but you saw
it'll be CGI. It'll be a CGI arse.
Like we all saw that gut, right? Like I was like, I am not turned on. I was not impressed. I was not happy. It was not.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you know, Cliff, but James Gunn obviously regularly watches this show, so I'm sure he'll be taking notes and he'll take that back for post-production for you, and he'll like that, I'm sure.
If he hasn't seen my tweets, my DMs, my post on James Gunn fan things everywhere, if I haven't caught someone's attention, then I'm just not going to.
A few people in the comments. Chris, good pal of mine, saying, "Where have you been all my life, Cliff?" I told you, Chris. I told you would love this guy because he's amazing. Well, boy, he's Canadian. He might be a bright moon. Yeah,
I'm half Canadian. I'm an American. So
does he not mean Nathan Fillion? Is he not Canadian?
Oh, I don't know about Nathan Fillion. I mean, like, I like the shows he's in, but I'm not sure I like him. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like him.
The other thing you mentioned there, Cliff, was about your mum reading to you. Now, something I don't talk about a lot on here is that I'm dyslexic, but comic book reading is what I attribute to getting me to be able to read, properly, far more than the classes I had at school and things like that. But people seem to really diss the comic book media, in terms of it not being proper literature. I don't agree with that myself. What do you think of that? Do you think that's cat?
I think that they can go eat a big one because it improves literacy, it improves vocabulary, and most adults stop reading after college age. Okay? They stop proper reading after college age, and you can't say that about comic book collectors. So bring it. I will take you. And I was like, if you want, I will take you to Bard College. We will Neil Gaiman this out on the streets. And if it turns out that he gets canceled, I'm still gonna Neil Gaiman you on the streets.
Yeah. That's upset me.
It's a closed 2-person allegation.
Yeah.
So I am upset, but maybe it's not what we think.
Yeah.
I really want to give him the benefit of the doubt, which is terrible because we live in an age of,
Yeah, absolutely.
But I really want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes they're just angry people out there who lash out and this happens and here we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Terry's saying I passed science exams by reading Metal Men and Metamorph. Well done, Terry. Well done.
Yes.
Okay, Cliff. Pardon me. Show us something. There's an offer. Show us something. What have you got to show off tonight?
I did not. I'm going to show you something, but then we're going to go back because I didn't answer one of your questions.
Yeah.
You said what got me into the YouTube, and we're going to come back to that. All right. So, okay, I'm not going to get sentimental. Everyone on my side of the pond has seen my most sentimental one, but I always have it handy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to show you my biggest find this year. Or the biggest, my score this year.
Chris has put a request in there. Can you make sure it's 19 centimeters, whatever you show?
It's 19 centimeters or more.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the last 19 centimeters, I was very pleased. Very pleased. So this book is by Roy Thomas and Ross Andrew and Mike Esposito with Gil Kane and Frank Giacoia cover. And it features the first appearance of a woman who is eventually to be revealed as Misty Knight. And that is Marvel Team Up #1.
Oh, nice. Sandman. Is that Sandman on the cover?
No, that's Hyperman.
Is it? Oh, right. I thought it was Sam. Yeah. Very cool.
I was going to say, the water looks like sand. Zoom in. There we go.
Yeah. Nice.
So my goal for this year was to pick up Defender stuff and Invader stuff and Marvel Team Up stuff. And I've just been chopping away. So for the rest of the year, my main focus will be Defender stuff. You'll notice that I did get the first appearance of the Invaders.
Yeah, very cool.
So that was a nice score for me this year. So that was something to show you. But the question I failed to answer was about the YouTube. So many years ago, I'm probably around the time my father passed away. So let's say around 2008 or so, there was a card game called Versus System. And so I played that game a lot. I even did articles for Upper Deck. I had a podcast called The Ring Has Chosen. And I based it off of the name of one of the cards from the Green Lantern set. So my friend Squire and I hosted that show. And so I had some experience with the podcast. From that, my friend Tony and I, Tony who lived upstate from me at the time, and he worked for Kerwin's Games, and we created a show for that store's YouTube channel called Read, Watch, Play. So now I had more YouTube experience.
Yeah.
And also I tried to continue The Ring Has Chosen on my own, on my channel. And I worked with a couple of people that I was not thrilled with. So I think I removed a lot of those videos.
Okay.
Even though some of them were really good, but I just decided I'm scrapping the whole thing.
Yeah.
But there may be a few of them like hanging out there. But again, it's still an experience. So this was not new for me. I had hit upon it over and over, but like I didn't feel comfortable going at it on my own. So a couple of years ago, and I'm sure it's a couple of years ago, I run into Sam. And Sam is someone I went to junior high school and high school with. And we're both at Albany Comic-Con in Albany, New York. And he's filming stuff with his girlfriend's with him. And we're chit-chatting. He goes, I really want to do something. I want to call it the Council of Comics. So I was on board. The other dudes who were on board with him, they like did an episode with him, and then stuff happened and we didn't see them again. And so like the further we moved, like I was with him from almost the beginning, and then everyone else drifted away. We still have the owner of our shop, Anthony. Yes, another Tony, basically. So Anthony was always on board too. So it kept shifting until we got Green Shirt Guy, which is Ronaldo, who also is Canadian Puerto Rican descent, American. But the opposite. My mother's Puerto Rican. My father was Canadian. Ronaldo's mother was Canadian. Father Puerto Rican.
Right.
And I speak Spanish and he doesn't. So that's a really fun thing. So we're mirror universe. And then Phil was a big fan of the show. And so initially Phil would just be walking around the store, watching us, saying hello, looking for his comics. And then Sam's like, do you just want to be part of the show? And he's like, of course I want to be part of the show. So Phil isn't. So that's the core for, even though everyone at the shop we feel is part of the council. Especially because like that's Sam's motivation. It's like he wants the Council of Comics to be a community. So then things get more complicated. So now I'm comfortable doing stuff with the show, but we befriend our friend Angel at the shop, and Angel is known as Empire Comics, right? So Angel is telling us to get more involved and whatever. And so I start branching out. So I start sitting in chats that Angel recommended. So I'm watching Breakfast with Brian, I'm watching DJ Links, I'm in the chat, or I'm watching Legion of Comics, and it says Clifford NY. So everyone's like, oh yeah, Clifford NY over here, or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, everyone else has a cool name, right? Like Legion of Comics, DJ Links. And I'm just like, oh, Clifford NY. I'm like, this sucks. So for the sake of personality, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I went with Cliff on Comics. And then everyone's like, well, where's your content? And I'm like, oh, so it just became a thing. So I was just like, you know what? I'll just do some unboxings. I'll just do some trivia. I'll just do some stuff. And now I do Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, comics and coffee with Cliff. So I got to have you on one morning. It'll probably be afternoon for you.
Absolutely. I really do recommend people check out the channel and check out that show, because it's if you've not noticed already, Cliff is full of energy and great fun, so it's well worth checking out.
Only when I'm with other people.
Yeah.
And then I fall apart off screen.
Oh. Good. No, not good that you fall apart. Sorry, I meant good stuff. That was a little bit embarrassing. Yeah. Okay, Cliff. Show us something else in your collection, mate.
All right. So I mentioned Empire Comics, and he passed away June 27th last year. So, and most of us were like Sam, Josh, Ronaldo, they were all away on different trips, you know? So the only people available to go to the wake were me and Steve, who sorts our books every week. Yeah. And I said to Steve, I said, I know I can do this alone because I've had to do this before. I'm like, and more often than I would like by the age of 46, mind you. Yeah. And I was like, but if you can be there, great. So Steve got there before me, and he's like, and I'm like, hey, I'm a little bit lost. And he's like, I'm waiting in the parking lot for you. So I really appreciate that. But on my way to the funeral, I got a notification from Instagram that I had won. I forgot his name. Alon, New Jersey, I think it is. Alon NJ. But I had won his giveaway. And Angel was a tremendous fan of Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And the giveaway was this signed by Patrick Gleason, Amazing Spider-Man 55-second print. And so anyhow, I just felt, you know how when you have a moment and you feel like maybe something in the universe is connecting you or whatever the case may be, I was having that moment. So I'm going to hold on to this for life because, you know.
I mean, first off, it's a stunning book, but to have such an emotional connection, I think is amazing, and it's funny, isn't it?
Serendipitous.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're the same as me, Cliff. I've got a lot of books in my collection that people might look at and think, well, that's not a key, or it's not a, but it's got some kind of story behind it, or an emotional attachment, or someone's gifted as it, or whatever. You know, that's the stuff that means more to us than the pricier books. You know, a lot of the times. Yeah, lovely book to have, and a great emotion and memory to go with it, I think. Okay, bud. Hard question for you. Brace yourself, because I get grief for this one. All right. Favorite movie, if you can only watch. Fair enough. Not that hard a question, then. Yeah. Why Superman the movie?
Because it's. Yeah. Because I can always watch it, and because for me it never gets old. You know, it's got a little bit of everything that just makes me smile and makes me feel like a kid again. You know, and why isn't that a great reason to really love a movie?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Going to push you, Cliff. Favorite Superman? Is it Christopher Reeve?
It is still Christopher Reeve, yes. Yeah. But that does not mean that I did not. The thing is like, I felt Henry Cavill could have had it. I just feel no one was working with Henry Cavill to make it happen.
Yeah. No,
you know?
I agree.
And strangely enough, the Snyder Cut of Justice League seems to come closer to Superman being Superman than the other stuff. Even though I was furious with Batman vs. Superman, I was like, what? But I enjoy the director's cut of Batman vs. Superman. Again, Superman felt more like Superman when the story unfolded properly. I have so many issues with freaking Snyder, I don't even know what to do with myself. But the point is, Henry Cavill really had what it took. I just wish somebody was on board to let him have it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Lovely comment from Chris here regarding your last book. It's like it's his gift to you. Lovely stuff. So yeah, that's very true, Chris.
Right there, you know, like you don't know, but something. You feel something. You know, you feel it. You feel a connection. There was a. I mean, I really struggle. I struggle a lot, and I've had a lot of loss in the last 2 years. And so one thing I struggle with is when people say, "Oh, it's all part of God's plan," and I'm like, I don't believe in that, right? And usually if I feel strong enough, I'll quote parts of the Bible where free will are really important, right? But I do not believe in that. But I also don't believe in beating yourself up over things you didn't know, right? Like, I could have saved them. No, you couldn't have, because you didn't know crap. Like, that's not how it works. Oh my God, I'm getting so dark and deep.
No. I mean, so I'm. I don't know if you know, Cliff, but
I did have one.
I don't know if you know, but I'm a cancer nurse by background. So believing in God's plan is a struggle for me when I see the people coming through the services that I look after. So yeah, no, I completely get that. Yeah. Let's look at something a little bit different. Show another item. What else have you got to show?
Let's go lighter.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll avoid these comics right now that definitely will not help the topic whatsoever. Something fun. Oh, so I did the big time collectible Miko Suyan package of the year. You know, like they do one like at Christmas time every year or something like that, or at the New Year. So I did it, and of course, you don't know what you're going to get in it. But to my pleasant surprise, Superman 78.
I've not seen that cover. That's a nice one.
It's beautiful. Superman 78, beautiful tribute to Christopher Reeve. Look at that gorgeous back.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's very nice. Nice signature placement as well.
Oh, of course. It's
cool.
Fabulous.
Okay, Cliff. So another question I like to ask people is, do you have a claim to fame? Have you ever met anybody famous, or have you ever been on TV or anything like that?
I've met plenty of famous people. I got to interview the cast of The Tick on Amazon. That was really lovely. And you could find that. That's from New York Comic Con 2017. You could find that on Read Watch Play on YouTube. So that was lovely. They were great. And of course, I got to interview the actress who played Miss Lynch, and I knew that she was also on Jane the Virgin. So I had the most amazing time with her. So like my interviews go up and down, but when I'm with her, I'm a kid in the candy store.
Yeah.
And then, so I have one great story. So my ex-fiance, Mateo, he had a restaurant. He was the manager of the restaurant. His brother-in-law owned the restaurant. It was called Quinto Cuarto, and it was on Houston Street in the West Village down in New York City. And celebrities used to come in and out of there every day. And so there's this brownstone that looked really run down on the outside, and you never saw anyone going in or out of there. Well, this rundown brownstone actually belonged to Drew Barrymore.
Wow.
And at the time, she's dating Justin Long, right? So the two of them are playing hide and go seek in the street, and Mateo's 6'5". She runs into Quinto Cuarto. I'm sitting at this back corner table where I always sat when I was with him, and he's standing up, and I'm sitting there just having like a Coke or something. She runs in, and she literally hides behind Mateo, right? And Mateo's like, "Oh my God, Drew, what are you doing?" And she's like, "Shh, I'm hiding." And you see Justin running in the street, and he's like, "Drew, I love you." He goes, "Please come back and have a meal here," right? And she's like, "Thank you." And then she runs out. He's like, "I will make you a vegetarian meal, I promise." It was so funny. So that was great. And I was like, what kind of life am I living?
Yeah.
Ran in. And I missed it. I was not there for this. So I was there when Bill Pullman came in, right? But because he was doing a show on Broadway with Alan Rickman. But guess what? On another night, Bill Pullman came in and brought Alan Rickman with him, and I missed it.
Oh.
And then to knock my socks off, 2 weeks later, at Alan Rickman's recommendation, Daniel Radcliffe is there with a party of 13.
Were you there for that one?
I missed that too. Yes. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? But I did get to see Brooke Shields, and she did almost light the restaurant on fire. That was awesome.
Okay. Good.
Well, I did. Not the whole restaurant, but she was holding the menu, and she's sitting with a friend of hers and her lawyer, right? And the lawyer actually knew Mateo, so that was interesting. And I guess that's how they ended up eating there. And she's very nice, and she's looking at the menu. She's like, "Oh, I guess we should order something to eat." Ha ha ha. Right? But she hit the candle, right? And so the menu caught fire, right? And then she went to whack it on the table, but there was some alcohol that had spilled on the table, and that caught fire. And then Mateo ran over and put it out, and it was just great. But it was so fantastic. It was fantastic.
I mean, I have to say, you've dropped some big names there, but the one that jumps out to us is Alan Rickman. I would love.
Oh my God! And I didn't meet him. That's the worst thing. I didn't get to meet him.
I mean, he's done some fantastic stuff, but forever in my head is Galaxy Quest. Have you seen Galaxy Quest?
Of course I know his entire catalog of work. I even watched his romantic comedy, for God's sake. But I love him in Galaxy Quest, and I love him as the voice of God in Dogma.
Yeah.
What is it? The Metagog? Metarog?
I can't remember. Yeah,
I can't remember. I think it's the Metarog. But yeah, love him.
Just going to quickly jump to the chat, Cliff. Chris is saying about your comic book, it's shiny. It absolutely is. Love a good shiny. Dead Man saying, never talk religion, politics or football. 2 down, 1 to go. Actually, mate, we've ticked them all off because we had a good chat about politics before we went live. So yeah, we've ticked all of those off.
So wait, are we supposed to never talk about it, or I never talk about it and now I'm violating what I don't like to talk about?
No, so in what is it? In polite dinner speak, you're not supposed to talk about
bring those things up. People love to bring them up.
Exactly. Oh, it's yeah. Okay, mate. Show us something else. What else you got?
All right, let's look for something fun. This is another pickup that I got this year.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that lovely? With such great color. Captain America 200.
That is
on the 200th anniversary of the United States. So great.
Very cool.
with the Falcon and everything.
That pops, Cliff. That's really nice looking condition for the age of the book.
I'm definitely thinking of having it graded because I'm really pleased with this copy. Really pleased.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot.
And it looks great.
Next question. I suspect we might know the answer to this, but favorite hero, Cliff? Superman. Yeah. Why is that? So I'm interested in your take, because I've talked on this show a fair bit about this, because I say this a lot. I am a big Superman fan. I'm a fan of the characters like Superman, Captain America, people like that, who inspire people. That's my idea of a hero. But a lot of people I talk to knock that down and say, oh no, you want the anti-heroes, your Wolverines and stuff like that.
No, that's dumb. Why should I want anything? I should want what I want.
Yeah, exactly. And people say, Superman's boring, but I don't think he is. I think you've just read the wrong comics if you think he's boring.
You have read the wrong comics. You've definitely read the wrong comics, because people have writers have trouble writing Superman because he's so powerful. Just like I think it's terrible when writers write super genius villains, because none of the writers who are writing super genius villains are super geniuses themselves. So usually I get a lot of distaste in my mouth, literally, when I'm reading stuff like that. But yeah, Superman at his core, right? Truth, justice, and what should be the American way. I like to point that out, right? Yeah. That I'm all about it. I'm all about Superman helping people, be them best selves, be a light to guide the way. So yeah, that's it. I love that. I feel some writers really, really get it, understand it. I always recommend to people, you want a great Superman story, Superman for All Seasons. That's one of my favorites. I grew up with Man of Steel. I enjoy that very much. I thought that set a very modern tone for Superman.
Have you read? I love one of my favorite issues, and I point to this one for people when they don't get Superman a little bit. I can't remember the writer is. What's so funny about Truth, Justice, the American
Way, where he fights the elites? It's Action Comics 775.
Yeah, I just love that.
Yeah. So Action Comics 775, Superman fights the elite, and the elite is basically a knockoff of the Authority, and the Authority was an extremely popular comic at this time, which apparently, because the fandom is a generational fandom, so I meet all sorts of people who are like, I don't know the Authority, and I'm like, but where were you? So we got people who just got back into comics around COVID, and they don't know the Authority, and we got people who left comics around 2012, let's say, and I can't find them to back me up on how great the Authority was. So but basically Superman fights the elite, and they're like, well, we're better than you. We take things down. So it looks like Superman is using their kind of tactics to take them down. And then, of course, at the end, you find out that Superman merely disabled all of them, but he defeated them without having to kill anyone, and was able to prove his point. And I think that it's a great book. Also, they made it into an animated movie.
Yeah. No, it's not bad, the animated movie either. It's
pretty good. It's pretty good.
The other, I mean, you mentioned All-Star Superman there, and mental health and those kind of topics are something close to my heart. There's a scene in there, and I'm sure you'll know what I'm talking about, where he talks to somebody who's contemplating committing suicide.
Yes.
And I think it's just one of the most beautifully written, with so few words, really. I think it's just one of the most beautifully written little scenes that you'll come across, really, in a comic book. I love it.
And it's funny because All-Star Superman gets a lot of credit for that, but that is not the first time I remember Superman doing that in the comic.
Yeah.
There was one with a woman who was standing on a ledge, and the Metropolis PD are already below, and Superman is hovering there, and she's like, I don't really want to know what to do. And he's like, well, do you mind if I just stay here with you? Right? Yeah. So he stays with her, and now it's nighttime, and now the police lights are on them. And she goes, the lights are really bothering me. And he fires heat vision down at the ground and cuts the lights with his heat vision. So it's just them. And she's like, she basically is like, if I jump, will you let me fall?
Yeah, I
remember
that one.
And he's like, and he tells her about trying to respect her wishes. And he's like, but if you choose not to, I'll be here for you and I'll take you down. So they have their moment, and she takes his hand, and that's the end of the story. I think I like that one a little bit more.
Yeah.
But they're both essentially the same story. So I love seeing Superman in a moment like that. I do a suicide awareness class called QPR. I do that once or twice a month, depending on the month, because there's a team of us at my job who do it. We're part of a zero suicide initiative. So it's very near and dear to me, and I have lost friends to suicide. And friends, colleagues. So yeah, definitely something I take very seriously. I'm all about men's health and mental health. I work mental health field adjacent. I'm in a clinic. I provide job services for people who are attending mental health services and recovery services. So yeah, I would like I would like to reduce the leading cause of death in men to be heart disease, opioids, and suicide. I'd like us to not be leaders in those things.
Absolutely.
So now that I got real serious on you again, should we pick something fun?
Yeah, let's go fun.
Oh wait, okay, here. This is fun. You're gonna like this.
Oh, nice.
These are all 3 issues of the Angela miniseries.
Yeah.
You'll notice they're signed by Greg Capullo.
Yeah.
They were signed by Greg Capullo when I was 17 years old. He came, so north of me is Kingston, New York, and he came to the Kingston Armory, and I still lived in Newburgh, New York. So my friend came over to pick me up. It took us an hour to get to Kingston, and we met Greg and a few others, and it was lovely. And Greg signed these for me. I said, I love the series so much. Your art is so good. I hope Todd lets you draw Spawn or gives you an ongoing Angela. He goes, could you please write to Todd and tell him to give me an ongoing Angela? Which I did write to Todd about it and never got a reply, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Look
at the artwork. Look at the artwork on those.
Yeah, he is just so great. He was a lovely fellow. And
stunning. Absolutely stunning. Stunning.
A few years ago, Scott Snyder, while he was working together with Greg on Batman, Scott Snyder gets attacked by Rob Liefeld in his DMs, right? And of course, we all want to forget that this happened. It's all water under the bridge. But thanks to Bleeding Cool News, all that shit is there for all of you to see. So it's there. So at least most of it. So anyhow, he got all up in his DMs, and then like Greg Capullo said something like really sweet and really neutral because he's worked with both of them. And I was like, Greg, you were a class act when I saw you at the Kingston Armory, and you're a class act today. And he's like, oh my God, that was so long ago. How old are you? By the way, he's in very good shape now, but he was hot. My 17-year-old self my heart was pounding talking to him. I was like, oh my God. Oh, damn.
Just going to jump to the chat. Dead Man is saying Superman is the correct answer. Chris is saying he's as complex as they come. I agree, Chris. I think he absolutely is. I think he's a really interesting character. Dead Man, backstory of Action 393 is one of my favourites. Just 8 pages, but so wonderfully told. Which one's that, Dead Man? I can't remember that tale. Do you know that one, Cliff?
I know I own it, so I'm going to go see if I can remember it.
Yeah. Let one know in the chat, Dead Man. I can't remember that one. And we've got Big Stack. Nice to see you, Big Stack.
Oh, the day Superboy became Superman. That's the backup story. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. I know it well. And yes, it's 8 pages, but yes, it's great.
Dead Man. I always thought DMs were Doc Martens. Yeah.
Well, listen. DMs back. Yes, Dead Man. Yes. Yeah, baby. So when I was younger, people started saying DMs, right? Or I need someone to DM me something. I'm like Dungeon Master. I was like, I love Dungeons and Dragons, And then people are like, no, direct message. I'm like, no, it's PM for private message. When did we go to DMs? And now we're all up in each other's DMs, and that's what it is. Now it's DMs. And sooner or later, the new generation is going to screw us all over by saying, oh, AM me that. What the hell is AM me?
Yeah. Now, hang on. I have to go back because and I'm not bullshitting you, Cliff. I didn't realize you mentioned before the age of 46. I didn't realize you were the same age as me. I thought you were a younger man.
I know. Do you know what my secret is, Peter? Everyone, listen up. Okay. There's a lot of secrets. Antioxidants are wonderful. Please have your dark berries. But the number one thing that you can do for yourself to keep yourself young is not have children.
That's very true. Yeah, that's very true. I've got
Not
two of the
having-
buggers. Yeah.
Not having kids is the fountain of youth, baby. You keep your seed to yourself. No one tells you that. All right?
Yeah,
You
I'm
love
right.
that
I
population
agree.
control.
I agree. But to my point, you are obviously then of a similar age to me in terms of the cartoons we grew up on. And you've mentioned Dungeons and Dragons there, which is one of my all-time favourites. Did you see the recent Dungeons and Dragons movie where they made a little guest appearance?
I loved it. I saw it twice in the theater.
Yeah.
I watched it repeatedly at home.
Well, I went to see it with my son actually, and he had to kind of look at us like I was some mad person when we saw the original cartoon Dungeons and Dragons characters, and I was like on my seat. And he was like, "What the hell's the matter with you?" I was like, "You don't understand who these people are." Cliff, we've danced backwards and forwards between light and dark and quite serious stuff. Now I want to push you further. I want to know what pisses you off. I want to know what gets on your nerves, what your tipping point is, what really grinds your gears.
Oh, do you really want to know? Because it's
definitely want to know.
I think politics.
Yeah.
You know, politics gets me to no end. I hate how divided and weird my country feels. I hate what our media has done to people's minds, where we don't have basic conversations anymore. It's right or wrong. It's, it's like, it's horrible. Last year, I got into a terrible fight on the 4th of July at a picnic with a so-called friend of mine. He's never quite apologized for it. And our friendship has never quite been the same because I'm kind of not allowing it to be the same.
Yeah. Politics is it. I mean, we touched on it briefly, didn't we, before we went live, and it's a funny world we're in at the moment, I think, in terms of the political landscape when we look at who our leaders are. Chris Bell is saying, "Damn it, I don't like berries and I have many children. No wonder I'm the same age and look 60. Yeah. Well, I remember IRC. Yeah, tremendous.
Oh, yeah. Well, I used Merc, MIRC. Yeah. I love that.
Dead Man, I want a t-shirt with, of course I did on it, I love this guy. See, you're a hit, mate. You're a hit. We've got Von Hoot. Have a great show, guys. We'll catch the rest on the replay. Cheers, Von Hoot. We will catch you in a bit, mate. I hope your show goes well. Okay, what else have you got to show, bud?
I've got tons of stuff. We're gonna keep going. Yeah. All right. So this is a fun little set that I have. Oh my god. Oh wait, hold on. How about something really fun? Here is a Christian St. Pierre original from 2011 on an X-Men 1 Blank Blood variant.
Oh, Storm. That is nice.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Very nice.
Love that.
Yeah,
so
I like
that's
that a lot.
fun.
That is very cool. Very cool. Nice. Are you going to get that graded at some point, or?
I would like to have it in an art slab. And now that CGC does that authentication through JSA, maybe I'll do that. And that would be really cool.
Yeah. Okay, bud. Next question for you. The opposite of what I've just asked, really. What's a perfect day look like for you?
Oh my god, a perfect day is just making love, drinking prosecco, eating Italian food.
All at the same time, or?
I kind of, maybe. Like, I mean, I could certainly suck down a meatball while I'm working on a hot sausage. But I mean, honestly, like, why wouldn't that be great? Who doesn't want like wonderful food, having your belly rubbed by somebody who loves you and desires you, And like I just don't know, like, who does not want that? Like, that's what I want, just making love, drinking wine, eating Italian food, drinking that prosecco.
I'm not gonna lie, it sounds perfect. It sounds
right. Isn't that a perfect day? Like, everyone else is like, my perfect day. No, shut the hell up. No, the perfect day. Drinking wine, making love, eating great food.
I'd probably swap the wine for a mojito or something like that, or a Long Island iced tea.
Sure, why not? You know what? How about that?
We'll have them all, Cliff. We'll have them all. Why not? Why limit ourselves?
And you know what? I would say let's throw in some tacos, but I don't want to mix Mexican with the kind of sex that I have, so we're just gonna keep it at Italian.
Oh, Chris, you're on, mate. You're on. Next time we meet, let's do it. Absolutely, bud.
Let's do what? What is he implying?
What you've just said. That's what we're gonna.
You and Pete are just gonna be making love, eating food, drinking wine.
The scary thing is, I'm meeting them in a few months' time. So yeah, we'll record it for YouTube, obviously.
They're making love too.
Cliff, next item, mate. Next item. What you got? And can I just say, as you're rummaging around down there, can I just say what a impressive, sexy back wall you've got there? Because that's a very nice lot of slabs you've got up there. Some very nice ones.
Fun. This was a lot of work. Of work. Some of them were wins, which is really nice. Like that Beast, the first grade Beast, that was a win. From Instagram. This was just a very affordable purple label Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man #1. That Dark Knights, it was a win. Those two David Nakayamas I had slabbed myself. Those two Superman Son of Kal-Els I had slabbed myself. That X-Men #4 first appearance of Omega Red is a 9.4 signed by Jim Lee and Scott Williams. And it is the one I bought as a kid. It is the same comic that I have owned for 32 years and moved with me 3 times and came back a 9.4 double signature. I'm very proud. Ooh, Barolo, Barbasecco, better rather than Prosecco. Oh my God, yes, baby, let's do them all. Let's do them all, dead man. I was like, can you drive at night? Do you still got rhythm and your red hot detective? Let me know. So I'm going to show you comics directly from my childhood. Okay. So 1987, which means I would have been 9 years old when I picked this up. And this is Superman #8.
Oh, I love that one. I had that one.
Yep. And this is my first, and if you look real close, you can tell this is definitely the one I had as a child.
Can we just appreciate the artwork by John on there? Because his Superman, I think, is one of my favorite renditions of the Man of Steel. I think it's amazing.
And he's homaging himself, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Just a beautiful comic.
Gladiator battling the Fantastic Four. So you got Block from the Legion in place of the Thing, Sunboy in place of Human Torch, Brainiac 5 in place of Mr. Fantastic because he's a genius, Invisible Kid in place of Invisible Woman. But this is my first exposure to the Legion of Superheroes, and also which led to my confusion about Superboy. So then I find a direct edition copy of it, of part 2, because I couldn't find it in the United States. I find part 2 in Canada while I'm visiting relatives. And then I enter my teenage years, and I'm at a Scott Liddell signing in New Windsor, New York, which Scott Liddell doesn't even remember going to Iron Vic's in New Windsor, New York. He only remembers the Iron Vic's of Poughkeepsie, New York. And I had a whole conversation with him about this. And while I was there getting North Star's coming out story signed, on the wall, I find the Legion of Superheroes, which are, and in the box. In the box was part 3, or I think there's actually part 1.
Oh, I haven't seen that one before. Cliff, let's see that cover. I've not seen that one. Very cool. I like that.
And then, of course, the one from the wall, and it was $12 then in this dinged up condition, and it's still probably about $12 today.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like that as
well. And this is where Superboy actually dies.
Yeah, lovely cover.
So this is 7 years of my childhood right here.
Yeah.
Because I'm 9 for this. I'm 10 when I find this one at Silver Snail in Ottawa. And then I'm around 16 when I found these two.
Incredible. Lovely books. We've got Deadman saying that John's run was excellent. Yeah, I love his artwork. I haven't got anything signed by him in my collection. I do like a signed book. I might have to try and pick up He
is difficult to come by.
Yeah.
Especially now in modern years where things have just become kind of toxic between fandom and creators.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, again, we need to be good gatekeepers, and for our community abroad. You know, we let these people who come in with short boxes that they want creators to sign, and we shouldn't let that happen. I mean, some people try to stick up and fight, but it goes to hell.
Mate, so we've got a con that we'll go to called Thought Bubble, which is a really interesting con. It doesn't sell a lot of kind of what you would class as your usual comics. It's all about creators and artwork. And we had Jason Aaron there last year. So, you know who Jason is. I was stood second in line to get a book signed by him. I think I had 3 or 4 books, to be fair. And some bloke in front of us had a long box full of comics, and he literally put them in front of him and got him to sign every single one. And by the time it got to me, I said to him, I said, Chris, you must be sick of your life. And he just looked at us like you just wanted to get up and walk out. And I thought, this is why, because it was free signatures, I thought this is why people don't come and do these cons anymore, It's just ridiculous. It's the darker side, isn't it, of the hobby, I guess.
I was at a show once, and this young man, right, who definitely had a disability. He was with Jamal Igle, and he had 75 copies of Firestorm #1. And he just stood there repeating to Jamal how much he loved him, and Jamal signed all 75. And James is a pal of mine. He was at the con with us. He's saying, don't forget, that's right, I thought I was first in the queue, and there was a bag in front of us, and he put the bag down, pissed off, got himself a coffee for half an hour, and then came back to hold his place in line, just walked straight in front of her. It was an interesting experience, I tell you. We've got a couple of questions for you now, Cliff, from the great Instagram community. All right. So first one, this is an interesting one. This is from Wayne. What slab in your collection is your least favorite? Dark Knight's Metal #6 right here.
Right. Why is that?
I won it from my good buddy. Oh my Lord.
He's a good buddy, is he?
22 Comics, who was on my show this morning. I won it from him. And it's a Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo. Like, I do not like Dark Knight's Metal. I think I own 2 comics that are related to Dark Knight's Metal. This is one of them. Like, I have no desire. And it's a PGX on top of it. You'll notice that almost everything I have is CGC, and I have a couple of CBCS, right? And so, this one's not going to make it.
You're not filling us with hope here. So I've got the 2 Dark Knight Metals Absolute Editions sat waiting to be read. I presume they're not worth getting into, are they?
Oh my God, my nephew, his girlfriend, and my mother are watching upstairs. I heard my mother scream out in disgust, and I was hoping and praying it had nothing to do with me. It must have said something earlier that upset her.
I mean, I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it might be linked to your perfect day.
Exactly. But I don't care. She knows. She met Mateo. She knows.
Okay, next question for you, Cliff. What's a book you're excited to add to your collection before the end of this year, and why? So that's a good one. So what's on your list?
Marvel Premiere #1, first appearance of the Defenders.
Okay.
And currently what I have is I have one of the pre-Defenders books, and that's Submariner #35.
Yeah, nice. I like that one. That is very nice. Giant man and his funny weird leotard type costume thing going on there. Interesting. Yes. So how close are you to getting that Marvel Premiere one, do you think?
I don't know, dude, but I got till the end of the year. So, pray for me, people. Pray for me. And when I have stuff on sale on IG, buy it from me. Support me. I'm facing financial hardship, and I want to get that book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, Cliff. Right. Next question for you. Actually, no, let's see something else in your collection. We've got a couple of questions left. So what else do you want to show off?
I won this from DJ Lynx's last Whatnot, and I really love it. It's from August of 2023, and it reminds me of Angel a lot, and I can't remember if we had to talk about this or not. But the other book that I have that reminds me of him is one that I'm sure we talked about, the FOC. But this one is the Carnage Reigns Omega #1 with Miles in his spider armor.
Yeah, I've not seen that cover either.
Yeah,
this is good, Cliff. You're showing us books I've not seen before. I
love it. I love it, Peter. Thank you.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, bud. Okay, so next one is an interesting one, and this can be anything you want. It can be life, it can be YouTube, it can be whatever you want. What advice would you give to people watching?
I could go for hours. You know?
Are we still talking about advice?
Yeah. Like, always make sure you look good when you leave the house. Like, really look inside yourself before you forgive people. If you want to reach out to them because life is too short. It's all going to end. Also have some compassion for people because we're all human and you want compassion in return. Believe in second chances. Offer love whenever you can give love. Offer support whenever you can give support. You know, offer kindness every day because it's free. You know, try to, you know, I don't know. Do whatever you can. I feel like we live in a time where we're all struggling. So just give a little bit of the best of yourself to the world, you know?
Perfect. That's absolutely perfect. And everything you've said, there's stuff I believe in. So I love that, Cliff. I absolutely love it. Okay, mate. Last item to show with. What you're going to show with?
Oh, last item. This is tough. What do people typically show as their last item?
Anything. Absolutely anything. We've had random stuff, mate. We've had all kinds of stuff.
Oh, man. I want to show you something just fantastic, you know? And now I'm not even 100% sure. You know what? I'm going to show you something from my childhood. How about that?
Perfect.
My Wonder Woman pop-up book.
I need to see it pop. Cliff. Oh, look at that. That is a bit. Now I'm laughing, Cliff, and I'm laughing in a good way because it's again hit a little memory. Somebody recently, a good pal of mine, Tom, sent me a Transformers pop-up book from probably around the same age as that, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
And this is actually directly from my childhood.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Let's
have a look at the cover. Oh, mate, that's lush.
Wonder Woman, a pop-up book. That's it.
Yeah.
Published by Random House.
Perfect. What a lovely item to end on, Cliff. I love that.
I'm so glad. I was like, I gotta end strong. Yeah. These are all things Peter hasn't seen.
Cliff, tell the people where they can find you and where they can watch more of your brilliant content.
You can find me over on TripleG Comics. That's my YouTube page. You can also find me on the Council of Comics. You can find me as @CliffordNY on YouTube and on X, formerly known as Twitter. I still call it Twitter. Oh my. And you can find me at CliffNY on Instagram. Feel free to find me, email me, message me, whatever the case may be. I'm there. And of course, join me Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the States for Comics and Coffee with Cliff.
Absolutely. Now, everybody that's been watching tonight and those that are watching on the rewind will have no doubt have enjoyed the show because you are just such a bundle of fun, Cliff. I absolutely love it. I've enjoyed talking to you immensely, and I really do hope we'll do some more stuff going forward because this has been great fun. This has been exactly what I want, a bit of fun, and you know, it's been great. So thank you so much for that. Just before we move on, guys, just a couple of things to mention. Over on my channel, all kinds of stuff going on at the moment. We've got our live shows, lots of different videos out. Please do go check that out if you like that kind of stuff. Tomorrow night, I've got another This Is My. We've got Mr. X from the Extreme channel. This guy is a statue collector, and he's got an awful lot of superb statues to look at. So that's tomorrow night over on my channel again. And that's your whack. Thank you so much to everybody that's been watching tonight. Cliff, you're a hit. We've got loads of positive comments and lots of people saying what a joy you are, which is just beautiful to see. I'm absolutely loving this. So thank you to everybody that's been in the chat. Really do appreciate you guys sticking with it and watching tonight. And Cliff, a massive thank you to you, mate. You've been absolutely superb. I've loved having you on the show. So
my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
With that, we'll call it a night. So good night, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.